If conspiracy theorists already suspect that there's a major hostile alien invasion false flag underway, a fear-mongering agenda carried out by the powers that be, for brainwashing the global population into believing that any eventual contact with extraterrestrial civilizations will be hostile, and followed by the invasion of planet Earth and eradication of mankind, now they will be absolutely certain of it. I came across with this video aired by Fox News, one of mainstream media tools more committed to fulfill this agenda, reviewing an ongoing project for constructing a massive radio telescope system, formed by 3,050-foot wide dishes, spread all over Australia, New Zealand and several islands of the Indian Ocean, as well as in South Africa. The review is made by Fox News analyst, security and terrorism consultant and defense specialist, Allison Barrie. For the record, the video was uploaded on Fox News website, under the title quote-unquote, "Protecting the Planet from Little Green Men."
Joining us live on set now, Allison Barrie, who's here to talk to us about the article that you just have coming out on foxnews.com called Detecting Threats from Outer Space. There it is, the world's largest telescope to detect threats from outer space, the more complete title of this article. So what are we talking about here? Is this about sensitive radio telescopes? You're going to have to start at the beginning for us.
Right. Super cool. It'll be the largest and most sensitive radio telescope ever built, known to mankind, wow. Quite literally, yep. So what that means is it'll give us a whole new capability to explore the universe, and of course, from my defense perspective, check out what's out there, check out if there are aliens and if they have an appetite to, paying us a visit in an unfriendly fashion. So that's a defense perspective, but I think it's a fun story, but also an important one. And really the scale of this is huge, and it surprises me that people aren't talking about it. They're expecting this will be built in 2024, and right this year, in 2012, they're deciding the site. So they're debating between, it'll be a combination, it's so large that they're going to have to involve two countries. So it'll be a combination of Australia, New Zealand, or South Africa and the Indian Ocean islands. And what it involves is it's a very widespread array, essentially, a mix of dishes and wide aperture array devices. And it'll be about 3,000 dishes. That's quite a few, obviously.
Right.
And the volume of data, I brought a fun fact for us, because I know our viewers like our fun facts.
To know and tell.
It'll have the processing power of about 1 billion PCs. It'll have enough optical fiber to wrap twice around the Earth, and enough raw data to fill 15 million 64-gigabyte iPods every day.
Wow.
So it's a huge amount of information, and terribly exciting that it's underway. And not something we're hearing much about, but there's 20 countries involved. We're involved, the United States is involved, Great Britain's involved, Canada's involved, France, Germany, Portugal, Poland, you name it. Lots of countries are involved and very excited about it. Lots of companies, a lot of the big defense contractors are sharing their know-how, trying to get involved. And I suppose the question is sort of what's the mission here? And I think there's kind of 3 or 4 main missions. One, in all seriousness, is the exploring how galaxies evolve, the nature of dark energy, which I think is really cool and I don't understand enough about. They'll also be looking at how stars are born, how black holes are formed, and they're also taking on Einstein. Interestingly,
oh, really?
They're looking to challenge his theory of relativity, yeah, and also just the general sort of concept of gravity throughout the universe. And the final one from the defensive piece is that are we alone? And what I think is super cool, just to give our viewers a couple examples, it's going to be so powerful that it will be able to detect. Let me get this right. I think it's 50 light years away, radar. Like airport radar, such as we would have here on Earth. If it were on another planet 50 light years away, they would be able to detect it. So it'll be able to detect very, very weak extraterrestrial sort of signals, which is pretty cool.
Well, you said you were surprised that people haven't been picking up on this.
Yes.
How did you find the story, and how is this just like one
I'm
of those?
in the business.
I know, but I mean, for 70 institutes in 20 countries to be involved in something like this. Certainly the first time I'm hearing about it too. Is this something that we're going to be hearing more of? Do you think there'll be more reporting on this?
I hope so. And I try in War Games to bring to our viewers that sort of stuff that we might be talking about in the business that's just not making it into the mainstream media.
It's really
cool. It's kind of water cooler talk for us, and I hope that's where I can provide an advantage to our viewers. But it's costing 1.5 billion British pounds, so that's almost $3 billion.
Wow.
So even that in itself surprises me that we're not sort of talking about it a bit more. year. And even by 2019, they're expecting to get actual science out of it. So that's a really short time from now. You know how some of these huge-scale projects are. They can go on forever and you just don't get anything out of them. But they're getting some hard science. They're expecting that soon. So pretty quick jump from establishing a site this year to actually getting hard science. So I'm excited about it. And, I think it's a fun story for our viewers, too. I know there's a lot of interest there in exploring the universe. And quite timely with this whole solar incident today.
Yeah.
How do we detect these threats from outer space, and how can we get more ahead of it and on top of it?
So interesting. Allison Barrie, her article on foxnews.com. Can you find it under any particular tab? I always have people that ask me how to find stuff online.
Yep, it can get a bit
We have a lot
confusing.
going on.
I'm always on the front page for the first day.
Excellent.
Not to brag, but that's how I roll on the first.
So, the powers that be are admittedly building a monster radio telescope with a cosmic range of 50 light-years for detect hostile extraterrestrial intelligences before they invade Earth. And make no mistake, this is not a scientific project. It's 100% managed by the United States Department of Defense, NASA, and a bunch of military contractors. So, the question now is, what's going on? According to whistleblowers, former U.S. military and secret intelligence personnel, such as John Lear, Phil Schneider and Milton Cooper, just to name a few, the U.S. government has a secret program with extraterrestrial beings, for at least 40 years, being conducted at several underground bases spread all across North America. And according to other less-known names, such as Richard Sauter and Dr. Jean-Francois Guile, also there's a web of alien military underground bases in Pine Gap, Australia, where a large part of the radio telescope dishes will be installed. Well, if on the one hand there's no proof to corroborate the statements of whistleblowers, and the U.S. government vehemently denies any knowledge of extraterrestrials on Earth, on the other hand, in old videos of NASA missions, we can see several UFOs flying around on Earth's orbit, that definitely are not man-made objects, debris, ice chunks, satellites, meteorites, or any of the bogus explanations and shenanigans said by NASA. As a matter of fact, the objects filmed during the legendary missions STS-48 and STS-75 are clearly performing intelligent control maneuvers, and even evasive maneuvers. Some of the disc-shaped UFOs seen flying around the broken tether during the STS-75 mission are 12 miles diameter, so that it takes no rocket scientist to figure out that the presence of extraterrestrials on planet Earth is real and is happening right now. So why this joint of 20 countries led by the United States are building this monster radio telescope under a military agenda for allegedly detecting alien invasion? Why the powers that be are pushing this massive psi operation, if extraterrestrials already are here, or probably have been around for thousands of years? And if you do not believe that this is actually a global false flag operation, perhaps a quick look at the profile of Fox News analyst and poster girl for several projects of the U.S. military, Allison Barrie, will clarify the things a little bit. Barrie's professional profile is 100% dedicated to military operations, with expertise in terrorism, counter-terrorism, global disasters and worst-case scenarios. She's also analyst for a couple of think tanks for global domination and New World Order agenda, the Royal United Services Institute, which is submitted to British government and military, and the International Institute for Strategic Studies. She also has close ties with the U.S. Department of Defense and Homeland Security. But now, here comes the interesting part. The International Institute for Strategic Studies is a blatant front for a New World Order agenda, 100% oriented for militarized globalization. When we see someone like Allison Barrie, a very well-prepared Illuminati puppet, openly promoting the hostile alien invasion fear-mongering propaganda, and announcing a mega-project related to military actions against extraterrestrial visitation, we should make some questions. Already there is a secret interplanetary war going on, and Earth as part of it, or the Illuminati joint possible remnants of ancient extraterrestrial beings, hidden in underground bases, for attempt to prevent an open contact with other alien civilizations, and probably the return of the ones who lived on Earth in ancient times. It takes no Einstein to figure out that a massive contact with civilizations from other solar systems totally threatens the agenda for a global dictatorship, as long as the bogus story of mankind is unveiled, and 2,000 years of lies, governmental conspiracies, fake religions and secrets of occult societies are imploded. As far as such event will probably trigger a global awakening of consciousness on people, it seems pretty obvious why the Illuminati chose an expert in military operations, terrorism and worst-case scenarios, such as Allison Barrie, to get people indoctrinated into the new terrorist threat created by the US government and its associates, the extraterrestrial visitors. They are the brand new terrorists who will justify a militarized one-world government, a global curfew, quarantine camps and the rise of the Illuminati satanic messiah, who will promise set the world free of bad aliens.
I really love this research project. It's a little bit out of the box.
Don't be fooled by the cute baby face and childish voice of Allison Barrie when you see her on TV news. She plays a big role on the stage for the New World Order. She's actually a puppet of the Rothschilds and probably an Illuminati bloodline as well. The fact that several members of the Rothschild family are members of the think tank organizations that pay for Allison Barrie to be the public relations of their militarized globalization agenda is enough to realize that she's lending her pretty face for the powers that be, make the alien hostile invasion fear-mongering propaganda more digestible for the masses, especially the American people. As far as we manage to identify the ones who are behind this massive fear-mongering propaganda of hostile alien invasion, and we connect them to this project of building a massive radio telescope to create the new terrorist threat of extraterrestrial origin, it leaves no room for doubts that a global false flag event may be underway. And as usual, the Illuminati Freemason Zionist apparatus is all over this. But the questions we should be making now are, who, or what, is pulling the strings of the Illuminati, and what could be this false flag? One thing is for sure, it will be something terrifying enough to make people believe that Earth is being invaded by evil alien beings.